Right. And next up, we have Monica Esquivel talking about child health, food security, and food access.
Hi, I also made some slides for today. Thanks, Sati, for having us all here and gathering the group. And so I'll talk a little bit about child health, food security, and food access. Right. More specifically, I'm just describing the evolution of our Keiki produce prescription program. I always like to introduce our team on the Keiki produce prescription project: Alicia Higa, May Okihiro, Shri Shelton, and Kenny Pariso. In addition to myself, the rest of the team works either at Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center or El Apayo Social Services. And so fruit and vegetable prescription programs, if you're not familiar, provide vouchers to get fresh fruits and vegetables at designated vendors. Between 2010 and 2020, about 100 programs were established across the country. Most of them target individuals from low-income households, households that experience food insecurity, and or those who are suffering from health disparities. In adults, these programs have demonstrated positive impacts on fruit and vegetable purchases, household food insecurity, fruit and vegetable consumption, and a number of health benefits. For us in our team, we see the Fruit and Veggie RX programs as a pathway to improved health status, where vouchers are provided to children through a pediatric clinic, and they can be redeemed at a local farmer's market or online. And we hope that that will address food insecurity and possibly improve diet. But in yellow, you see that we know that things like actually being able to participate in the program, various supports and barriers to participate, as well as nutrition knowledge, also influence a person's ability to experience those benefits. And so as our program has begun and evolved, we started the Keiki produce prescription program back in 2017 with a feasibility evaluation. We call that cohort 1. We learned there lots of people were very interested in the program, but we had very low program completion. And so from that, we took some lessons learned to refine our protocols and really learn about what we could do to support program participation. In 2019, we had cohort 2, which was a pilot study funded by OLA Hawaii. And in that iteration, we were able to implement some of the lessons learned from cohort 1 and also quantify impact of the program on diet and household food security. And now in our latest iteration in cohort 3, we are currently enrolling 100 parent-child dyads who'll be randomly assigned to either receive the intervention now or later, and we have some additional health outcomes that we'll be measuring. And so as a general overview, I consider there to be 3 components to the Keiki produce prescription. The first is the provision of vouchers for fresh foods. So our participants get $60 a month for 6 months. They can redeem these vouchers at either the Waianae Farmers Market or on FarmLink Hawaii online food hub. There's a nutrition education component that I'll share a little bit more about. And then lastly, an important component is the linkage of clinical and community services, where healthcare providers are screening and referring patients to their program. And this also facilitates tracking of program participants within their medical record. And so I love to share these materials that Sharice Shelton, a PhD student in our program, completed. She's working on her dissertation on these materials, but essentially each month for the 6 months, there's a different locally grown produce item highlighted. So in component 1, it introduces that produce item. In component 2, there's a cook like a chef activity teaching a cooking skill, and we provide a cooking tool. In component 3, they have a food and nutrition education activity and component that's also centered around that monthly produce item. And in component 4, there's a recipe with step-by-step photo instructions and videos. These are also being posted on the Get Local website. So this, I think, was a fun part of the program. Some preliminary results from cohort 2. We had 121 participants enroll. Pretty even between males and females, and a majority of our participants were either Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. I always like to show the breakdown of fruit and vegetable consumption relative to the types of fruits and vegetables. So the green bar you see here, these are for adults and children. So a large proportion, about a third or so of maybe a fourth of their fruit and vegetable consumption comes from fruits. This is whole fruits in the cohort, same with the children. Another kind of thing I point out, this light green was other types of vegetables. The yellow is French fries, and this blue is lettuce. And so just kind of interesting breakdown of the different subtypes of fruits and vegetables people are eating in the study. And what we also found is that out of those 121 participants, we had about a 38% attrition rate, which was greatly improved from our first cohort. While we provided $300 in vouchers, the average voucher redemption was about $210. We were pleasantly surprised, I think, that food insecurity did not change from baseline to follow-up. It stayed steady, which I think most of us have observed in the same time period of 2019 to 2022, food insecurity has actually increased. As far as fruit and vegetable intake goes, combined, there was no significant change in fruit and vegetable intake, but we look at those fruit and vegetable subcomponents, both parents and children had significant increases in fruit intake. And we tested, we ran some analysis, and the child's age, the dollars of vouchers redeemed were not related to any of the food insecurity or fruit and vegetable intake outcomes. So the program works similarly across the sample. And so in our last cohort, as I mentioned, we're including some additional health outcomes. So we're enrolling participants, and this time we get to measure and observe changes in parent and child gut microbiome. And we'll be examining changes in parents' blood lipids, blood pressure, as well as blood glucose. So a little bit, few more details about the third cohort. And I thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, and I'll be around. Thanks.